Hello and welcome to another Penguin TV. This week we are going to be looking at the Green-White Hate deck. This is a different version of the archetype than has been played in Classic in the past. A couple of weeks ago I was reading a vintage article, I believe it was Brian DeMars, and somebody crushed a vintage side event with a deck very similar to this. I tweaked it a little bit to fit more into the Classic metagame, as well as cutting the 3 power cards that were in it. So I guess we'll start off. The deck is GWH8, and the reason it is H8 is because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wastelands, or strip mines, or land destruction, however you would like to call it. It supplements these 8 wastelands with a single Crucible of Worlds and these 2 cards, which will restrict the ability to A, use fetch lands, and B, search out basic lands for Ghost Quarter. Leonin Arbiter will make a fetch land cost 2 extra mana to activate, so it really puts a stifled development on your opponent. Aven Mindcensor is a little bit more expensive, and it's a little bit worse, as they can look at their top 4 cards, and it doesn't require them to pay extra mana. However, he does have Flash, and he messes with tutors a little bit better, because if you don't have the Mindcensor on the table when they play the tutor, you can respond with the Flash and restrict their tutor to just the top 4 cards, and usually they'll miss. To complement the fact that they cannot search their library very easily, we've got 3 Path to Exiles, which, while not only not giving them life with a deck that we plan on attacking with, it stops them from getting any basic lands they might have. This is more important in the fish-on-fish matchups, as against decks that aren't playing a lot of creatures, their targets are usually either just Blightsteel Colossus or a couple of Oath guys. And while it's fantastic to remove them without giving them life, it's even better that, because of the way the deck is set up, they don't often have the ability to fetch a basic land either. So this is a Green-White Hate Bears deck, and it wouldn't be the deck without the Hate Bears. And here they are. We've got 4 Phyrexian Revokers. It's a Pithing Needle on legs. It cannot hit Bazaar of Baghdad, which might be a problem. It can hit almost everything else that might be a problem in the format for us, though. It can hit Metalworker. It can hit Kuldotha Forgemaster. It can hit Noble Hierarch out of the green-white or the 4-color fish / Vile Bant lists. It can hit Aether Vial if you have an advantage. It's a pretty solid card all around, and it beats down. He was pretty effective in the Workshop sideboard, so we'll see how effective he is in this deck as well. We've got 4 Qasali Pridemage and 2 Kataki War's Wage, speaking of the Workshop decks. Qasali is targeted removal. It's great against Workshop and Oath of Druids. It applies pressure, it blows up problem permanents, and it can make your other guys just a little bit bigger. Kataki's War's Wage is kind of a small, fragile dude, and there's only 2 of them because he really only shines in the Workshop matchup. But also, because of the amount of land destruction that we have, he's not too bad against the blue decks either. If we're restricting their mana output from lands, they won't be able to really lean too much on Sol Ring and Mana Crypt, or Lotus Petal for that matter, so he will help tie them up pretty nicely. In line with the blue decks, we've got Gaddock Teeg, which does not shut off any cards in our deck, but shuts off lots of cards in the format. Chalice of the Void, Force of Will, all the Planeswalkers, most of Storm's win conditions. He's a pretty good man to have. The vintage version had 4 of these and 3 Pride Mages, and I don't like that for our metagame, as you're more likely to run into Oath of Druids or Workshops than you are Blue Control or Storm. Interestingly, Gaddock Teeg also shuts down Dread Return out of Dredge, which can be pretty big. And on top of that, he's a legend, as well as Kataki, so you can blow up your own guy, if you have two of them, to remove your opponent's Bridges from Belows from their graveyard. Aethersworn Canonist is a nod at Storm decks, because they are still very good, even if you can restrict their Infernal Tutors and other tutors in the deck. We do have a good chance of stopping them from getting an easy tutor off. But Aethersworn Canonist just adds extra pressure and makes them have to find another card before they can win. Coupled with the Gaddock Teeg, you get two different win conditions on the board that they have to remove both of. Last for the creatures is Tarmogoyf, who is just a big dumb guy. That's really all he is. If we had a better win condition, we would play it. Maybe the Myr Superion from New Phyrexia, which is a 5/6 for 2 mana. However, you cannot cast him unless you used creatures to cast him. So that would make us rely exclusively on Aether Vial. Speaking of Aether Vial, we have Aether Vial to help us get our guys out, protect them from counter magic. They can come out as an instant speed to mess with people, all of the Leonin Arbiter and the Aven Mindcensor. And then Elfish Spirit Guide just helps us get a turn 1/2 drop. So any land and an Elfish Spirit Guide will usually result in one of these cards hitting the table. Because we're running the Leonin Arbiters and the Aven Mindcensors, we're not doing any fetch land action. Instead, we have 12 green-white dual lands, a Plains, and a Karakas. Horizon Canopy hurts us, but it is a green-white dual land, and it provides late-game card advantage. With Crucible of Worlds, we can slow extra draw card every turn. Razorverge Thicket, for the same reason that I liked it in the Show and Tell bargain list, is pretty good in this list. It's almost never going to come into play tapped, because A, we're only running 22 lands, B, 8 of them are going to the graveyard all the time, and then another 4 are probably going to hit the graveyard some too. Couple this with the fact that we'll be playing against Wastelands and Strip Mines from our opponents. We've got 4 Savannas, which are the best of the dual lands, but they are functionally no different than Razorverge Thicket because we're not running fetch lands. We've got a Singleton Plains. I like this version with the sunflowers and the windmill. Makes me think of Holland. Or not sunflowers, they're tulips. And we've also got a Karakas to battle Ionas and Emrakuls if they should happen to make it to the table. So our best matchups, from what I would think would be Workshops, Blue Control, and possibly Oath of Druids post-board. Our weak matchups would be Dredge, Storm, and probably other creature decks. So our sideboard, we have a 4th Path to Exile, which we can bring in against the various aggro Vial decks that are in the format. We've got 3 Mindbreak Traps to bring in against Storm decks. We can't cast them ever for their mana cost, but it might catch them by surprise in game 2. Nature's Claim. Oath of Druids is a really good deck, and Nature's Claim will help us beat down on Oath of Druids, as well as removing problem cards from the Workshop opponent. We've got 5 cards for Dredge, plus the 3 Gaddock Teegs and the ability to kill your own legendary creatures, as well as Kaswali Pridemage, being able to blow up one of your artifacts at will. It's a little light, but we have to make room somewhere, and Dredge is not the biggest part of the metagame. We've got a 3rd Kataki's War Wage for the shop matchup, as well as 2 Seeds of Innocence. Seeds of Innocence is a very, very busted card. Getting up to 3 or possibly 5 or 6 mana might be problematic, but if we can ever resolve it, I can't really see losing the game. We'll gain probably anywhere in between 4 to 20 life, as well as just nuking our opponent's side of the board. So this is the green-white hate deck, and I'm going to, play it in my little mock daily event. So I hope you guys will enjoy watching it. See you in round 1.